On the news tonight, APC presidential flag bearer Tinubu confident of becoming Nigeria's next president as party flags off presidential campaign in Jos. Labour Party's Peter Obi responds to Soludo's claims about his tenure in Anambra State. And ex-minister Akpabio heads to Supreme Court after appeal court sacks him as APC senatorial candidate. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has officially flagged off his presidential campaign in Jos Plateau State amidst massive crowds. The event, which took place at the Rawang Palm Township Stadium in the state capital, had in attendance President Muhammadu Buhari, Senate President Hamad Lawan, the APC governors, among other party national stakeholders. Addressing the crowd, Tinubu assured Nigerians that hope is back, saying Nigeria will be well in the face of difficult times if he is elected in 2023. Our correspondent, Abisola Adebayo, has details in this report.
After several postponements, the APC presidential campaign has finally kicked off, and the first stop is here in Jos Plateau State. The 45,000-seat capacity Rawang Palm Township Stadium filled to the brim. The venue came alive with activities as early as 7 a.m. on Tuesday, as local DJs and drummers entertained party supporters who trooped into the stadium wearing colorful ashwebi that has faces of the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima. President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the head of the campaign committee, is on the front row leading chieftains of the party, over 10 progressives governors, members of the National Assembly and members of the APC campaign team to convince electorates to re-elect candidates of the ruling party come 2023. Addressing the mammoth of crowd, the presidential candidate Bola Tinubu reeled out his plans for Nigeria if elected in 2023.
We will assemble the best team, unbreakable team, to reverse any decay, to join you, to create a great progressive nation, to ensure that we search every corner, we cultivate farms and bring food and export items that will make us produce research centers, that will make us produce our own medicine and pharmaceutical technology for our own people.
The presidential candidate also took a swipe at his major challengers in the race, urging Nigerians not to fall for their lies.
None of them, I don't want to call their names. Is it Atiku? Articulated what? Wrong theory. Wrong theory. Mark down. Wrong theory for Atiku. Is it Obi? He's disobedient. He lives in Lagos, not in Anambra. He doesn't know the road back to Anambra. We will chat him another course. You get your PVC ready.
On his part, the national chairman of the ruling party, Abdullahi Adamu, explained the reason why the party picked Plateau State to flag off its presidential campaign.
We chose Jos deliberately for this ceremony, the most important undertaking by our party since the conduct of its successful presidential primaries in June, for a very good reason. Provocative speeches and uncouth actions unbecoming of men who seek to lead our country are heating up the polity. We need cool heads, and so we escaped here to Jos to cool our heads in the cool climate and watch others lose their heads in the heat of the hot air generated by them.
Following Tuesday's flag off in Jos, the APC presidential campaign train will move across the country from one state to another, convincing Nigerians. The campaign will finally end with another rally in Lagos on February 13, 2023. Abisola Adebayo, TV360 News.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has said he did as little as governor of Anambra State, urging the incumbent governor, Chukwuma Soludo, to do his best in the state as an economics professor. Obi made the remarks at the 2022 Lagos Business School Alumni Conference in Lagos on Tuesday. The Anambra governor between 2006 and 2014 was reacting to Soludo's comments that the investment he left in government is worth close to nothing. Obi explained that governance is continuity, urging Soludo to continue from where he stopped, as he has been presented with the opportunity to improve on what he did in the past.
When you spread your investment, some will go up, some will come down, but overall, the company is still there, the company is still doing well, it's still part of a global chain and everything. I needed to explain it not because I'm defending comment by my brother. My brother is the brother, I remain my brother, we're very close, I remain prayerful for him. For other things which I didn't succeed, God has given him opportunity to do it and succeed. For me, yes. So if there's anything pending, governance you don't finish. People are still in government in America. So you stop where you stop, other people will continue from there. I don't look back. He's the governor of my state. I'll always, he's my senior brother. He's even more intelligent because he's a professor, I'm a trader. So he knows more. So he will be able to do things better than I'm doing it. You know, I've done my little own as a trader. Now the professor is there. He will do his own as a professor. The schools that didn't roof, he will roof them. That's how government goes. Another person comes, do his own.
Meanwhile, the Labour Party has also been reacting to the comments of Governor Soludo declaring that Obi was not ready for the presidential race. Addressing newsmen in a press conference on Tuesday, Chairman of the party, Julius Abure, explained that Soludo is not speaking the mind of the majority of people in Anambra State, adding that the party will soon start campaigning in the state where to test its popularity. He thereafter urged the incumbent governor to desist from making such comments.
It's very clear that he's not speaking the mind of Anambra people. It's a minority and myopic point of view, parochial point of view. And the people on the Anambra State, even without consulting, I can say it clearly that it's not a popular opinion. And that's why I've said that by the time we take our campaigns to Anambra State, very soon, and because of his comment, Anambra State may be the state that we take our campaigns to very soon, so that we can test our popularity and test his and see who owns the land. And we'll see who owns the land very soon. And I'm sure that this his comment. My candid advice to him is that he should tone down his comment, because he'll be destroying his future and destroying himself if he continues along this line.
While still in politics, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, says insecurity is a concurrent issue and an effective security arrangement will involve all tiers of government. Atiku said this while addressing participants in one of the engagement platforms hosting political office seekers to answer questions and share their vision for the country. He said the security challenges are peculiar to each region and as such requires an all-inclusive approach. The former vice president also presented plans on how he intends to solve many of the nation's challenges as he answered questions on security, climate change, leadership, agriculture, and other key aspects of the Nigerian economy. Moving on, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has nullified the election of Godswill Akpabio as a candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC) for Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District. In the judgment, a three-member panel of justices set aside the judgment of a federal high court which ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to accept and publish the name of Akpabio as the party's senatorial candidate. The appellate court in its verdict held that Akpabio, being a presidential aspirant of the APC, could not have participated in the valid primary of the party held on May 27, thereby ordering INEC to recognize Ekpemudom as the authentic candidate of the party. Reacting to the development, Akpabio says his lawyers are studying the judgment of the appellate court for the purpose of seeking redress. In a statement he personally signed, the senator said he is aware that the Supreme Court has the final say in these matters and called on his supporters and constituents to remain calm and law-abiding as they continue campaigning for the success of APC in the senatorial district. Well, to discuss this further, I have with me on the news a legal practitioner, Libera Soshoma. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, so the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has printed Akpabio's name in its candidate list for the 2023 election. Everything seems to be in motion for the candidates. Now, what exactly does this judgment by the Court of Appeal mean and its implications?
Thank you very much, Falashade. What the judgment simply says is that Akpabio was never a candidate in the primaries in the the APC primaries in Akwa Ibom, that he was never ab initio a candidate, that he couldn't have been contesting the primary election, the presidential primary election, and at the same time contesting the senatorial election. That's basically what the Court of Appeal said. And so what that means is that Akpabio is not a candidate to now say that he's the validly nominated candidate. If you don't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. And so what that means is Akpabio's name ought not to have been on INEC list. But I also want to quickly say this, that before that judgment yesterday, there was another judgment in the Federal High Court in Uyo, where the Federal High Court also invalidated the primaries conducted by Akpabio faction in Uyo, the House of Assembly primaries conducted by Akpabio faction. The court in that election on its own now asks that another primaries be conducted. I want to state here that the court does not have that power to ask that another primaries be conducted because the time for conducting primaries had lapsed. Secondly, you can only, when having recognized that candidates were validly nominated, you cannot now say, except those candidates resign, you cannot now ask in another breath that, another primaries should be conducted. In the case of Akpabio, the Court of Appeal came down heavily on the Federal High Court also, to the extent that...
Now, sorry to interrupt you, but bringing it home now to the case of Akpabio, who, of course, has indicated that he would pursue the case further in the highest court of the land. What do you say about this issue? And do you think he has a fighting chance?
Look, let me tell you, by virtue of Section 84, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act, the states that INEC shall monitor, every political party that is conducting its primaries shall give notice to INEC, and INEC shall monitor that primaries. And that, what the court simply does now is first and foremost to look out for the report of INEC that monitor that election. But it was unfortunate that in the case of Akpabio, why the Federal High Court even gave him judgment was because of the statement made by the Director of Voters Education and Awareness of INEC to the fact that the statement of the Resident Electoral Commissioner that monitored the election that Akpabio did not participate in that primary can be jettisoned by INEC. Having said that, he prepared the ground for Akpabio to now claim that victory in the primaries he did not conduct. But the Court of Appeal, having said that, that report issued by the Resident Electoral Commissioner is valid and subsisting, I wonder why Akpabio is even bothering going to Supreme Court. But like we say, Supreme Court had the final say on this matter. And I know that the Supreme Court we also told the line of the Court of Appeal to the effect that a man who did not participate in a primaries cannot be said to have won that primaries. Akpabio, for all intent and purpose, was a candidate at the presidential election. When did he obtain the expression of interest form for the senatorial election? When did he obtain the nomination form for the senatorial election? For him now to become a candidate in that election.
Well, Liberal Soshama, many thanks for that analysis, but it's just much you can take. And it's definitely a political season, so we expect more intrigues as 2023 elections draw nearer. But thank you very much for your time and your contribution. Moving on, it's the second day of the United Nations World Tourism Organization Global Conference, with industry players brainstorming on ways to revive the sector and strengthen development. The event, which has been held for the first time in Africa at the newly renovated National Theatre in Lagos, is focused on linking tourism, culture, and creative industries with the aim to find pathways to recovery and inclusive development. For more details in this report. For years now, the conversation around economic growth in Africa has gradually tilted towards tourism. The continent, with a teeming population of more than 1.4 billion people, is rich in culture, music, food and art. But how can these unique selling points be exchanged for revenue the continent badly needs? Here at this high-powered UNWTO Global Conference, stakeholders reiterated commitment to the mandate of establishing stronger linkages to intra-Africa travels to promote the business of tourism, culture and creative industries.
This conference is an opportunity to define the future of tourism. What more can we do to make the movement of people across borders easier? How can we counter the nativist, ultra-nationalist rhetoric of politicians who seek to demonize foreigners, promote racial segregation? How about technology? Will virtual reality, virtual visits and tours kill human interaction? Or can we turn virtual reality to advantage tourism?
This meeting provides an excellent opportunity to discuss ways and means to promote intra-Africa travels and tourism, leveraging on our vast and unique resources and our number for mutual benefit to all member states. It is my expectation that this meeting will also serve as a platform towards establishing stronger linkages and functional collaboration among member states.
The idea of Africa being a global travel destination is, however, not as easy as it sounds. Tourism delegates across Africa agree that it would require deliberate and strategic implementation of policies among countries to achieve inclusive development.
What countries really need to do is to provide incentives for those who need to travel for tourism purposes, to say we have travel packages. You go to South Africa for a certain period of time, we give you a very nice, affordable travel package for you and your family and so on.
It is easier for an African to fly to a neighboring country by going to Europe and coming back than just simply flying to its neighbor. That makes no sense in the world. So until governments understand that we need e-visas for all Africans among their own nations, that we need a nice and safe and structured and well-organized air traffic market just for Africa, then it's not going to advance.
The problem of cross-border travel and insecurity is well known to players in the industry. They say this is perhaps one of the first hurdles Africa must overcome.
What we need to do is to first of all remove the barriers. We have challenges that has to do with border security. We have road network problems. We have flight connectivity, because you look at many countries in Africa, we have one of the highest airfares. And then we're also looking at bridging the digital divide in making sure that we're able to keep the continent together and grow tourism and use digital technology in terms of changing the lives of people.
If we throw light on all the attractions we have within Nigeria, within West Africa and Africa, naturally we'll have reason to travel and not having to go abroad or go to other countries or other parts of the world. inter-regional tourism should be encouraged.
While this is the first time the UNWTO Global Conference will be hosted in Africa, it was an opportunity to showcase some of Nigeria's talented cultural dance troupes who held the audience captive with their acrobatic displays. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News. Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, Nigeria's inflation rate hit 21.09% as food prices soar. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has officially flagged off his presidential campaign in Jos Plateau State amidst massive crowds. The event, which took place at the Rawang Township Stadium in the state capital, had in attendance President Muhammadu Buhari, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, the APC governors, among other party national stakeholders. Addressing the crowd, Tinubu assured Nigerians that hope is back, saying Nigeria will be well in the face of difficult times if he is elected in the next election. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has nullified the election of Akpabio as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress for Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District. In the judgment, a three-member panel of justices set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court, which ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to accept and publish the name of Akpabio as the party's senatorial candidate. The appellate court, in its verdict, held that Akpabio, being a presidential aspirant of the APC, could not have participated in the valid primary of the party held on May 27. And now to COVID-19 stories and updates. COVID-19 hospitalizations are rising among babies under 6 months old. To this end, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has urged mothers to get vaccinated to reduce the risk of infection in those not yet eligible for shots. Director of the CDC, Rachel Walensky, in a statement, said in recent months, children younger than 6 months old have faced the second highest rate of hospitalizations across all age groups, trailing only behind those of senior citizens as vaccines for infants younger than 6 months are unavailable. We'll take a breather here and return with more stories in business. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Well, up next is business news and stock market review with Simisola Adigun. Over to you, Simi.
Then now over to business news. The National Bureau of Statistics has revealed that Nigeria's inflation rate has risen to 21.09%. The NBS, in its Consumer Price Index report for October 2022, disclosed that the CPI, which measures the rate of change in prices of goods and services, surged to 21.09% in October 2022, up from 20.77% in the previous month. The latest figure shows that the general price level for the headline inflation rate increased in October 2022 when compared to the same month in the preceding year of October 2021 by 5.09%. We'll go on a short break here and be back with stock market report. Stay with us. The markets are still down on Tuesday as the Nigerian Exchange Limited recorded a decline of 0.02%. Now, interest rates in the equities market seems to have dwindled. This is according to analysts. The market's performance indicators show that the all-share index also decreased from previous trading day's high to 43,808 basis points, with market capitalization still at 23.9 trillion naira. Now, our Tuesday's bearish sentiment was largely driven by Lafarge WAPCO and UPDC Real Exchange Investment Trust, both combining a loss of 22 naira 65 kobo. Now, in 3,045 deals, investors exchanged 103 million volume of shares valued at over 1 billion naira. Our select global stocks, US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei, had bullish trade on Tuesday. Now, in the UK, fears of a recession and decline in the value of the FTSE led to low trade, causing a decline of 0.33%. That's the stock market report. Falashade has the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks to Ms. Lap for that update. And on the foreign scene, hundreds of young volunteers have responded to DR Congo's president, Felix Tshisekedi's call to join the front lines and fight against the M23 rebels. The mobilization comes as fighting intensifies between government soldiers and the rebels in the eastern region. The volunteers had marched through the roads of Goma before heading to the airport. The M23 rebels are now in control of large swaths of territory near the provincial capital, Goma, after a string of successful attacks. In sports, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has called on Russia and Ukraine to enter into a one-month ceasefire during the World Cup in Qatar. Speaking to world leaders at the G20 summit in Bali, the FIFA president explained that the World Cup provides a unique platform for peace and unity because the event would be watched by almost 5 billion people on television. It thereafter made a plea to world leaders for a ceasefire for at least the duration of the World Cup, urging them to do everything they can to put an end to the conflict.
Football and football unites the world, as we know. This is one part, and in uniting the world in joy and peace. I also made a plea to the world leaders, in particular with regard to the war in Ukraine, Russia, calling really for a ceasefire for the duration of the World Cup, at least. We have a former World Cup host, Russia. We have a country, Ukraine, who is bidding with Spain and Portugal, as well as other bidders for the World Cup after the next one in 2030. So the World Cup is a very important event. We have a World Cup starting in 5 days in Qatar, and maybe that a World Cup, which should be an occasion for joy and togetherness and unity, can be the trigger for a message of hope.
And that's the size of a news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Fola Shadi. Ogurinde. Bye for now.